And we are back. And we are
We're
back to talk
back.
about the meat bread story of what we love to talk about, early eras and B-sides. Um,
Hmm.
Talking about the early eras of 17 for me is quite interesting because, again, this was a lot of knowledge about 17 that I didn't have before because,
Yeah.
again, I wouldn't consider myself a carrot. I'm not a stan. I am an ally. I do love, support everything that has to do with 17 and have my biases, but I never looked into their history, and their history is super interesting. So, just a quick history lesson, and then we'll get into songs, early eras, and B-sides. 17 is under Pledis Entertainment, which is a subsidiary of Hybe, but it's an independent label. They debuted in 2015. Their debut is also interesting, but we can get into that later if we want. Um, and they are 13 members, which is 13 members, three teams, and one group, which makes up 17. So that's how you even get the 17 name. And they have one, two, three, four, five, six subunits. So BSS, J and W, H and W, C and M, D and S, and then V8 is coming soon. Um, and I think that's all I want to say. Oh, they also, here's another interesting perspective about 17. So we've talked about
Hmm.
this before where a lot of times groups will debut kind of young. They debuted in between the ages of 16 and 19, with a good majority of their group being 18. So they were, they were teenagers, but they were older teenagers.
Yeah.
And I think that also had a great deal to play in the level of maturity that was expected of them when they started, because they started at a time where the company was not at their best. And so a lot of their music had to be crafted, cultivated by them. They didn't just have like good opinions on their music. They were writing, producing, and choreographing their music from jump. And that is not a level of authority that you see given to a lot of groups. Like you'll see where like, oh, they played a hand in the rap lyrics. They played a hand in the lyrics for the ballad. They played a hand in this, or they were highly influenced in this as like
Hmm.
bits and pieces or parts of the music. From
Yeah.
writing to producing, which producing is a major part of music. It is overseeing the entire composition as a whole. The composing, the arrangements, the vocals, how it's stacked, how it's laid out from beginning to end. That's producing. And then the choreography. They have played a intricate hand in all of this since debut, which shaped a lot of what their music sounds like now and what it started sounding like then. So they were already determining the kind of sound that they were going to make from debut, from the beginning. This is what we're going to sound like. Since
And
we got to be
that's
the ones to write it, this is what we sounded like.
and that's why at the beginning their music wasn't as polished and perfect. It's because they were
Mm.
so involved. Like they're literally learning learning, on the job training. Like, and I
And
think
it's
it
so
works in their
funny.
favor.
And it's so funny that you said they started off not polished because I think that's one of the better aspects of Seventeen's beginning is that it wasn't polished. It's so funny because I would describe it as very rookie. And it's
Hmm.
funny because they were actually the 17 Carat EP, which was their first album, EP, body of work project, became the longest charting K pop album of the year in the US and the only rookie album to appear on the Billboard's top best K pop albums of 2015.
Come on,
So
somebody, clap it up for
for it to
them.
not be as polished and for it to be very rookie, very experimental, very fresh, very individual, they came out the gate swinging. I know that we sometimes will talk about that groups start off honest instead of iconic. They started off honest and iconic. They came out the gate swinging all first hit.
Hmm.
That's not easy to do, and it also can be very um, intimidating, electrifying, and scary because you're already writing, producing, choreographing it, and you don't know how it's gonna come out because you're having to do it. So it's not professional. I'm sure they had, some help in the background, but it was mostly
Mhm.
them. But it's not like as if a production team came in and gave you a list of songs and said, pick what y'all want to
Yeah.
sing, and this is how we're gonna lay it out. So to be rookies and have that kind of success is like, oh wow, it really did work. But oh wow, it really did work. So we have to build off of this stage of, oh wow, it really did work. It really did sound good. Um, and you can hear so much of their individualism in the 17 Karat EP. Like I went back and listened to that entire album just to
Mhm.
get a feel and sense of where they started. And
Yeah.
we've said it before, it just picking on Vernon, that his rap is doesn't fit, but it fits. You
Mhm.
don't expect it when you hear it, but it fits and it makes a difference in the song. I could hear so much Vernon in that first EP. I could hear so much of him in the beginning. Um, and so I'm curious, with talking about early eras and early B-sides and things of that nature, from our list of B-sides or even what you listen to in your personal time, what are some of your favorite early era songs or B-sides from 17?
Girl, lie again. Because I would still
Mm,
consider that early. Because it was
yeah,
2000. Was it 18 or 19? Lie again
that's really early because they debuted
has
2015.
been on repeat.
Mm.
I don't. That whole an ode project has went platinum in this house. So every most of the B sides are from this album.
Mm.
Let me hear you say Network
Mm.
Love. I'm looking at my favorite from
Oh yeah,
Back It Up. Like this whole one, and I think I told you that. Yes, was it when we talked about it yesterday? And
yeah.
also, is Fatal Love considered a early? Because like, where does that fall in
Let me
the
see.
timeline?
Hold on, let me see.
No, Sector 17 doesn't fall in consider early because that was another one that had me in a chokehold. But everything from an ode chokehold
Hmm.
could not get enough of. Also, was it? I remember by the colors.
I feel
Okay.
you.
Um, the love letter, first love letter, the pink back
Hmm.
border. Um,
Yes.
say yes and
Mm.
hit song. Carrots. How do y'all feel about it? Because,
I love that.
baby, those songs literally had me in the chokehold. Like, my son said, "Is this the new BTS?" Because I was literally listening to those songs. And I'm like, I got other stuff to listen to, but I just kept going back to those because those are the ones that stuck with me. What about
So
you?
when he asked you, are they the new BTS? Did he mean like as if he'd never heard of them before, or are they the BTS equivalent for you new because you
Yeah.
were a simple just BTS stan and they were your only group until this year
Hmm.
when you added in P1 Harmony. So he's asking like, are they your new BTS?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's a
Because,
heavy compliment for you because of how much you love and play that back. Wow.
because I don't, we believe BTS in here. Besides the gospel of Jesus Christ, we going to play BTS all day,
Period.
every day. What about you?
I love that. For me, and it's so funny that you bring that up because that's something that I wanted to slightly bring up. I don't like to often bring in other groups when talking
Hmm.
about our main Prism View groups because I like to give them the full attention. But sometimes there are certain overlaps I like to make because K-pop is a multiverse. I call K-pop a
Hmm.
multiverse all the time. Um, when talking about B-sides, I actually have a title track I'd like to highlight. I normally don't even talk about title tracks. I am a B-side baby. The art lies in the B side. The story lies in the B side. What I love most about a group is always going to be found in the B side. But let me tell you something. So I said I went
Mhm.
back and listened to the entire 17 Karat first album because I wanted to get a understanding of who they were when they first started.
Right.
20,
Yeah, yeah,
20
yeah.
is that girl.
Oh
20
my
is that
God.
girl.
Nostalgic AF. That
Nostalgic
was
as
in my
hell.
notes. Nostalgic AF. Highlight,
Nostalgic as
highlight,
hell.
highlight.
Correct. That entire 17 Karat album is amazing.
Mhm.
It was so well done. Like
Very much.
and it's not a long, it's an EP. It and I called you when we were talking yesterday because
Mhm.
next I'm gonna go into Shining Diamond. Next I'm going into Shining Diamond. Shining Diamond is one of my favorites. Oh my God. Like I love it is an ode to carrot. And I remember when I was looking up a lot of their history and they called carrots because of the rare cut of a diamond. And
Mhm.
Shining Diamond was also an ode to that. So I'm like, everything about Shining Diamond that made me feel like I wanted. If all, in all honesty, if I had started off with Shining Diamond as an early part of my K-pop um, journey, I probably would have ended up as a carrot. I love that song.
Ooh.
I love that song. I played it on repeat. It felt so good. It's such a feel good song. Truthfully, it gave me the same feelings that I got when I heard Replay by Chinese for the first time. Like one of those nostalgic classic go down in history
Mhm.
songs. Very much so. Um,
That's so
Clap,
crazy.
I do. I love Shining Diamond. I love that song so much. And if I had started off with that song, I probably would have ended up a carrot. Clap, Boom Boom, and then Very Nice or Aju Nice. Those are some of my other ones that I absolutely love from our list. Personal
Mhm.
picks, Rain from Spill the Fields. In K-pop, I don't have a lot of songs that I would deem greatest K-pop songs, period, across the board,
Mhm.
except for like one that I can confidently say. I have one
Mhm.
confidently that, without a shadow of a doubt, for me is one of the greatest K-pop songs across the board. That is "Collision" by Stray Kids. I have said it since the beginning. That song, I don't know what it is about the arrangement of that song and the composition of that song, but baby Hanji's song was in his shit when he wrote Collision because that
Right.
song for me just trails across the board. Rain
It's so good.
Rain from the Spill the Fields album by 17 is on my list of greatest K-pop songs across the board. I heard that song and I have not been able to let it go. It has my braids in a chokehold. There is something so groovy, so charismatic, so confident about Rain. I love that song. I wish I could actually express. I'm not even doing it justice. I would get on my
Yeah.
roof and scream it. I would get on my roof right now and scream it. I love the
Please
hell out of
don't.
that song.
He
I
sings.
would. Same Dream, Same Mind, Same Night from the Your Choice album. I have
You
raved
said
about
that.
that song until I can't no more. I love the hell out of that song as a B-side. These are nasty B-sides. These B-sides should have been title tracks, truthfully. And then again, seven from the 17 Karat album, Shining Diamond and Jam Jam.
Jam
I'm gonna talk.
Jam.
I'm gonna talk about that 17 Karat album till the cows come home. That shit was so good. Oh my God, Jam Jam. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, like I love the B sides from 17, real bad. And 17's ability to be so groovy, so fun. They're like so confident. Their music feels
Yes.
very confident,
Very
and it
much
makes me feel
so.
confident. Like when I tell you, I put on Rain and I feel like I could strut down the streets. Like, oh, like it gives such main character energy. There's a main character energy that you get from their songs, whether it's a ballad or a groove or a vibe or something a little bit more harsh and upbeat
Mhm.
and hip hoppy. Yo, man, like I love I loved diving into their music. I did because they got some treasures in their music. Diamonds in the rough, literally.
And I that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about going down this carrot lane. I would say is because a lot of the times we talk about how we can see the potential and the growth in different artists, but knowing, like I said earlier, they were in the kitchen, so we're actually seeing their growth,
Mm,
not them growing into what the company wanted them to be, or finding their sound by experimenting with different writers and producers. We're watching them grow as artists in real time. And
correct.
I also love how they weren't afraid to experiment with their B-sides
Mm,
um in the beginning. And a lot of artists don't do that.
mm,
They are very much, this is what I'm going to give you. And it's, maybe it could be because there's so many um creatives.
mm-hmm.
So everybody had their, well, I don't like spicy, so we're doing sweet and sour chicken.
Yeah.
I prefer teriyaki. So we got to see so much, and it really really works. And the carrots get to see like them building from scratch.
hmm From scratch.
One
Building
thing that
themselves, but also building their discography.
building there, the one thing that I really want to point out, which I always talk about, is like emotional depth of artists as we look at
Hmm
their DNA. I feel like early on they weren't emotional. And I think I touched on that earlier with when we were talking about the colors with DK.
mm
And when they lock into being able to write more emotional stuff, it all
hmm
clicked for them. And maybe it was because they were so young and they didn't
hmm
understand that music could tell bigger stories. But
hmm
once they did it, baby, game over. Game over.
Yeah.
Because their performances also became bigger and grander and more emotional. Do you think
Yeah,
so? Or am I'm reaching? Am I
no,
reaching?
I definitely see that for sure. There was definitely a switch in them where they went from just being good
Mhm.
K-pop to emotionally three-dimensional K-pop. They were already good from jump. Let's
Yeah.
give 17 their due. They were already good from jump. That 17, I'm a
Flowers.
rave about that damn 17 Carat album to the cows come home. I like that. I genuinely like that. Like that can go in my list of favorite K-pop albums. And it ain't
Mhm.
a lot of people make it there. 17 Carat can go up in there as one of my favorite K-pop albums. Um, because it was so fresh, innovative, and fun. And I feel like a lot of their packaging is a reflection of them.
Mhm.
And it got to a point where the packaging wasn't just fun, vibrant colors. It started to reflect them. They started making the covers, like in Ode, and so many of their others.
Whew.
And so
Now that's my 7 carat. That's
started to see
mine.
more emotional depth from them. And
Mhm.
it goes back to the saying that I talk about a lot with groups, that you have two categories of K-pop. You have lore and point of view. And when
Mhm.
it comes to lore, that is where you can get very fun with it. You've got the werewolves, the vampires, the concepts, the superheroes, the villains, the vampires, the concept, the lore, the story that they're trying to, the fantasy that they're trying to portray, and how it relates to the group, the concept. And then you've got the point of view storytelling. Um, and I always relate it to growing out and growing up. You have groups with the lore and concept where they have to grow out. They're constantly expanding on this world that they've cultivated and this fantasy that
Mhm.
they're trying to upkeep, um, to keep their fandom intact and to keep this story intact and all these different universes and lore that they incorporated into their music and their identity and the storytelling. But then you've got the point of view storytelling where this is just us and this is where we started. And so you get to see them grow up, which is an
Mhm.
evolution in age, in look, in confidence, in their sound. And you can hear it from start to finish. or start to journey. And for sure, with 17, you got to see them grow up and become more emotionally in depth and in tune within themselves. Like I wish I could have been in the room with Woozy for Same Dream, Same Mind, Same Night. I can't convey how much emotionally that song means to me. And how did your mind come up with that? What were you
Yeah.
feeling when you wrote that? How deep did you have to lock in to talk about that?
That was his heart song. Like,
The muse. I always go back to that song because that is one of like I have a playlist on Spotify and it's called And Then I Woke Up. Because I feel like that song is something that opened my eyes to where I felt like I was sleeping before and it woke me up. Same Dream, Same Mind, Same Night is one of the songs on that album because or that playlist because when I listen to it, I feel like it's waking me up from something. I'm getting a new perspective on life. I'm opening my eyes to something new. I'm feeling something I've never felt before. And the fact that somebody wrote that, the fact that a regular human being with two legs, the same two legs I got, sat in a studio and wrote that. Oh,
breathes the same air as me,
how,
baby.
come
Yeah.
on, how do you feel something that beautiful? I feel like I
Yeah.
ain't never felt nothing a day in my life before. Because then I hear things like that and it's like, how did you feel something so beautiful? Oh, I love music. I do. I love music. And the fact that they are, we say this a lot with other creators and other innovators in the K-pop industry. You have those that are very hands-on with their music, and then you have those who are not. Like we talked about it on our show, K-pop in Color, where we go live on Sundays through TikTok, um, about the like the level of importance, the weight of importance, I guess I would rather say,
Hmm.
in being a direct creator in your own music and having just and I hate saying just, but more so vocal and rap role influence in it. Like those who write their music and those who don't. Let me just
Having
simplify it like
access
that.
to tell your own story and letting somebody else force a story upon you to tell.
Or give their perspective of what they
Yeah.
want your story to sound like and you just lock in. Not
Yeah.
to say that one outweighs the other, but the point of view storytelling
Hmm.
and how the music evolves, there's a lot more emotional depth, a lot more sincerity, a lot more heart in it when you're writing it, and you can clearly see it in the performance, in the presence, in the way they talk about it. I love how tender and intentional 17 is when they talk about their music.
Yeah.
They mean that shit. They mean it. And they're so proud of it. Not to say that other
Hmm.
groups aren't, but talking about 17, they're so proud of their music. So much so that when they got ready to renew their contract, it wasn't just because we want to keep hanging out. It's we ain't even seen how good we could be yet. And
Yeah.
that is that direct creative access that they have to their music that I ain't even seen the best we could come up with yet.
Yeah.
How do you say that after releasing 17 Carats? Like, how do you say that? You
Baby,
started
you
off with 17 Carats. How do you say that? Don't piss me off. Because now I'm scared. What
and
more
this
can
is
you
a
do? Oh,
exactly. And now this is a good way to segue into like the shift. What was the
hmm
comeback that changed everything? Like for me, even though this is how I met them, going back and listening to their discography, watching the performances and everything, don't want to cry?
hmm
Baby, we're global now, global worldwide. It made people pay attention.
hmm
It transcends groups. Stand other stands are like, hey, y'all see y'all now they've been moving for a long time, but do y'all
Yeah,
see what they over there doing right now? Do you see what the boys are doing? Other fandoms. I have to go to the Reddit. I don't know if
I
y'all be
love
over there.
Reddit. I do.
But
I be on Reddit. I had never been on Reddit before until I got into K-pop. That is one of my trusted sources. It is.
baby,
I'm sorry. It is.
Reddit is like the Bible. They gonna tell the tale from the beginning of the
Yeah.
time. Um, and when I like I said, this is my introduction. This was my introduction to
Hmm.
17. And then
Yeah.
when I went through the discography, looking at the different comebacks, and I was like, this is the song that changed it all for them. For me,
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody says. So I had to journey over to the Reddit. And when the Reddit was saying the same thing, baby, I say I'm on
Hmm.
something. I'll never miss when it comes to it because the cultural importance of this song,
Yeah.
casual, like I said, casual listeners outside of
Yeah.
K-pop was even locked in.
Yeah.
It was the synchronization. There was like I really, and I'm not to take anything away from the song, but the
Right.
choreography became its own language. Like
Yeah.
there is something when you see that choreo, 17, you know it
Yeah.
before you hear it. It could be on mute.
Hmm.
I see them sitting on that floor doing their little hand stuff. I know what it is. I know what it is.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like this was like the setup for one of the greatest runs for me
Yeah.
because I we always talk about like the comebacks that changed it all, that made the shift. But when you get Don't Want to Cry and then you get
Yeah.
hit with Fear, Hit, Super, baby, they're on a generational run.
They
And
are.
it also opened up so many different things that I didn't see in their earlier things because Fear was darker. It had
Hmm.
intentional storytelling. Hit, performance dominance. They say, hey, stage killer, super cultural skill,
Hmm.
cinematic. That is also one of my favorite songs, performance songs from them.
Hmm.
You can't tell me nothing. If I worked out, this would be one of the songs I work out to. Mhm.
If I worked out. If I worked out.
oh, oh.
You ain't even
And
got
this
no
is
business being so funny.
and i and I'm we're really big on giving people flowers.
Yeah.
We like, baby, I'm not gonna wait till one of these boys go to glory to say how great they were.
Correct.
This generational run, the four songs that I just mentioned, this is where they go from a self-producing group to industry standard.
I'm so glad you said
Industry
that.
standard. And again, I don't hear people saying this for them. And I'm just like, are we, maybe it's because people don't listen to music the way we listen to it when it comes to talking about them.
They're not freaking out the way we freaking out.
And I just like,
Which I will say this to their credit, 17 is very beloved. They
yeah.
are. Baby, when Hoshi was in Virginia doing a taekwondo performance, the amount of people who showed up just because they knew Hoshi was gonna be there pissed me off. It did, cause not y'all
In
seeing
the great
Hoshi and I'm
state
not.
of
One in
Virginia.
the great state of Virginia. Not y'all saying Hoshi and I'm not, but the amount of carrots that poured out to watch simply because Hoshi was gonna be there, and they were doing the chants because Hoshi was there. I ate that
Aww.
up. And then when I was in South Korea, there was not one place I went that 17 wasn't there. If it wasn't an advertisement, an ad, a brand, a sponsorship, I literally, and I am not one of those people that I buy things specifically just because my bias or a group I like do it, unless it's it's group merch. Now, group merch is one
Hmm.
thing, but buying like a pack of bread because Jackson
Or
face on it,
coffee.
I don't know if I like that brand. Yeah, I ain't buying no coffee just because I'm not buying gin just because gin face is on it. But when I tell you I bought a bag of seaweed chips just because the performance unit's face was on it, you better believe I snatched that up so damn fast because Hoshi, you better believe I bought seaweed snacks
Ah!
specifically because their face was
Oh
on it,
shit!
and I'm not a kid, but baby, I had to take Hoshi home with me. And them seaweed chips was good as hell. I'm mad I only bought
Hello.
one bag. But case in point, I did that just because of them on it. But they are so beloved. And I, being very new to K-pop, didn't realize it. But
Mm-hmm.
17 is a very beloved, very renowned group, as they should be. As
As
they
they
should
should
be.
be.
For me, the shift that did it all for me, and it's so funny because we brought up the same shift. The 2023 EPs FML and 17th Heaven both set records for best sold albums in history.
Hmm.
In history, with FML becoming best selling album of 2023 according to the International Federation of Phonographic Industry. That's facts, not fiction. You know what was on FML in 2023? Super. Super is one of my favorite performances to watch. Not because I love the song, the
Hmm.
synchronicity and choreography. It is visually uh, I'm under a spell when I watch it. Now, Spell is my favorite music video to watch. It is. But the synchronicity of choreography, the sharpness in movement, the precision and technique that is Super is industry standard. And I am very glad you said it because hell yeah, industry standard. This is how sharp you need to be. This is how in tune you need to be. This is a well oiled machine, a defined unit, refined precision that is 17. And mind you, 13 of them. And they move as one. They are a body. They are not parts, they are a body. Oh my God. Like this was the shift for me. This was where 17 was stapled as not just rookies getting it right, not just the young ones doing it great. They were
Mm-hmm.
known now as somebody that groups would look back on and be like, if we want to be the best, we gotta look like that. If we want to be that instinct, we gotta look like that. And I'm gonna bring up another group. I said this before. I don't think I touched on them. I normally don't like to bring up other groups, but I got to say this. So My Little Babies, Cordis. When Cordis first came out, everybody was like, "Oh, they gonna be the next BTS. They gonna be the next BTS, the next BTS." This is not a hit on BTS at any point, but I remember saying like, "Don't compare them to BTS. Let them be the first Cordis. Cordis is
Mm-hmm.
going to make their own mistake. Cordis is going to grow. Cordis is going to evolve and emerge. Point of view storytelling." When
Mm-hmm.
the Color Outside the Lines EP came out, I, being not a critic or anything like that, as critically acclaimed person whose opinion matters all over the world, but maybe one day it will.
It
I
will.
dubbed the Color Outside the Line album as one of my favorite rookie albums.
Mm-hmm.
I loved everything that was about Color Outside the Lines EP, specifically because everybody thought they knew what Cordis was about based off of Go and Fashion. Oh, just
Right.
some other debut group that do hip hop. They don't sound just like everybody else. They don't sound like Playboy Cardi. They don't sound like Travis Scott. They don't sound like this, that, and the third. But when you got into the B sides, aside from the single releases and the title track. And you got
Mm-hmm.
Lullaby, What You Want, Joyride, which are beautiful coming of age music. Beautiful coming of age music. Something that as a youth I wish I would have had. Not to say we didn't have good music, but
Yeah.
the nostalgic coming of age music that we did have is exactly where Cordis's Color Outside the Lines fit for me. Lullaby,
Right.
Joyride, What You Want. It's an anthem. It's beautiful. It's fun. It wasn't until I heard 17 Carat that I was like, y'all had it wrong. It is not BTS, it is 17. Chorus reminds me so much of 17, it's sick. Especially with their latest song, Red Red, watching the precision of choreography. Watching
Come on,
James come up with the
James. Come
choreography
on,
on the spot
James.
and then watching them watch him and then immediately sync up, that is the same synchronicity that I see when I'm watching 17. That level of trust, that level of confidence, that level of individuality, that level of authority in your music, in your sound, in your design, in the choreography. I literally was like, oh boy, they were talking about BTS and they were supposed to have been talking about 17. That's who these little babies remind me of. Oh my God, it's dynamic to watch because I'm able to see how influential 17 has been in the K-pop industry as a whole. And then I can look at the up and coming ones and be like, even if they
Mm-hmm.
never say it, there's so much of them that I have seen because of them. And there's a precision, there is a confidence, there is a discipline that is within 17 that is able to be noticed in other groups because 17 were the ones that made it just I have this thing that I said, and I have it in my legacy portion, but I want to say it now because of the way I'm talking about them. 17 to me is a global phenomenon. They're a
Hmm.
comet. A comet only passes over the earth after so many hundreds of years.
Haley.
That is 17. That's
Haley
17.
comment.
17 is
Mm-hmm.
a comet. 17 is a global phenomenon. A group like this will only come about every couple years, every couple hundred years, every couple generations. They are special. They are special and they are monumental and very foundational to what K-pop is. And if I was, let's play our game. Let's play our favorite game and ask one of our favorite questions since I'm
Oh,
segueing into it. Correct. If you could introduce 17 with one song, that's with one song and one member, what song, what member would you introduce them with?
woozy woo. First off, um, he embodies what I feel like the 17 performance system is.
Mm,
You can see the intention in the way he dances. You can see the intention in the way he produces, the way he sings. It just translates everything. If you're trying
mm,
to understand a group, to me, this group, watching him and the way his energy controls stuff would be it. And then the song, I don't know what this song does for me, but maybe it's because it was my intro into this group. Don't want to cry. Emotionally restrained.
mm.
Performance and storytelling, not just the vocals. I Their performance skills is just like
Yeah,
I'm trying to. I don't have a word for it. They're
yeah,
really good. And it's intentional. They are not trendy. You don't.
yeah.
I wouldn't want to overwhelm you because a lot of their other performances are very big and can be overwhelming. But this one, you would be able to see both sides of the coin. What about you?
For me, if I was introducing um 17 to someone who didn't know 17 before,
Mm-hmm.
I too would choose Woozy. Um, I love him. And not just the depth of him, I love the surface of him. He's so cute.
Mm,
His cute little round face, his eyes, his smile. He is so cute. And there's a warmth
adorable.
and comfort to him and his look that I feel is very inviting. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that he was the name I got right. When I was guessing names, I was like, he looked like a Woozy. Something about him is just so cute, so cuddly, so comforting, so warm. It feel like his name should be Woozy. And then the song I would use is Shining Diamond. Because if I'm
Ooh.
introducing you to 17, this is what you might end up as a carrot, a shining diamond. Because this is how they felt about themselves at the very beginning, and this is how they felt about their fan base at the very beginning. It was intentional, it was honest, it was fresh, it was experimental, but it was very true to what they were looking forward to. That is how I would introduce someone to 17. And along that same line, let me ask our second question that we like to ask. If this B side had been a title track, what would have changed about either the album, the era, or the sound of 17?
Kiddo, I don't even gotta look at my notes. That is the song.
Mm-hmm.
It would have shown us a more emotional side of them early on. And I
Mm,
feel and I am emotionally driven because once you got my feelings,
mm-hmm.
I would probably cross an ocean for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I feel like this is one of the reasons why the Carrots hide so much of their B sides. Because unless you're in Carrot Land, you don't see these songs being talked about, especially
Mm-hmm.
that one, because they don't want people over there. There's no room, they're probably saying. we're not sharing them.
Yeah.
But it would have showed you like a more emotional, vulnerable side of them, and I think more people would be over there trying to buy a
Period. And I don't mind them for gatekeeping their society because
house.
amongst a lot of the fandoms, I don't hear a lot about carrots.
The
Carrots are they
carrot,
know they are refined. They're diamonds and they act as such. They're refined. They're
expensive, expensive.
expensive. You can't afford to be a carrot. It costs too much. The property taxes is high as hell over there. That actually, carrot land is an HOA society. You
Mm.
gotta pay to be over there. You gotta pay.
And we ain't
God,
talking
I
about no
love
hundred
them.
dollars. We talking
No, we're
big
not.
money.
No, we're not.
Boardwalk territory on the Monopoly board.
Correct. You cannot
Hmm.
play pickleball on our court. Keep it pushing. For me, it would have been Shining Diamond would have been the title track for 17 Karat.
Oh,
I
this is your song. This is your
that's
song.
my that's the that's to me that would be the anthem of 17 and the anthem of the
Mm.
Carrots. Shining Diamond. It encompasses everything that I assume 17 to be, and it's
Hmm.
experimental and fun enough for me to be excited for who they're gonna become. Very foreshadowing for me, Shining Diamond is. And it's it's electric. I heard Shining Diamond and I was like, hell yeah, this is it. And mind you, I thought it was the title track. It's not. Adore You is the lead single for 17 Karat. Um,
You always be trying
for
to
me, it
give
would have been
somebody a new
Shining
title
Diamond.
track. You always
I'm gonna
trying to
give it
give
to him.
somebody.
I'm gonna give it to him. Yeah, because why not? But yeah, it would have been Shining Diamond for me. I am attached to that song because I'm telling you right now, if I had heard that song at the beginning of my K-pop journey, I would have been a Carrot. Real bad. I would have been a soul Carrot. And I don't even like carrots. So I don't even like the word carrot in any capacity being associated with me. But that would have been it. I might have rethought that vegetable just for them.
My God, it's so silly, bro.
Oh,